A lot of the issues you might care about in the world can be super complicated. So before you can take action, you have to learn about stuff and things, which means research. Now don't panic, it's not as difficult or as boring as it sounds. The first thing you have to do is consider what exactly you need to know more about. Google is your friend, but sometimes it can be overwhelming. Just Googling the word copyright, for example, brings up 8,260,000,000 results. Not exactly helpful if you're specifically trying to learn more about how fair use legislation could impact your YouTube videos or your latest Korosami fanfiction. Brainstorm keywords like fair use and fanworks to narrow down your search. But if you're super new to the topic, you might want to go back to those 8 billion search results and check out some general information to help get the historical context and a broader scope of the topic. Now that you know what you're looking for, time to start putting together your information. Be careful though, not everything on the internet is true. For example, today is not the day that Marty McFly went back in time, and yes, Beyonce is still alive. Double check any information you find from multiple sources, especially if you plan on using your research to spread information to other people. Don't be the person using an Onion article to back up your position because you didn't realize it was a satire site. You can also ask yourself these questions to determine if a site is reliable. Is the page hosted on a credible site like a .gov or .edu, or is it a more common .com? Who's the author of the page or article? Are they an expert in the field, or is it a personal opinion on a blog? What comes up if you Google their name? Is the page current and up to date? What sources are listed on the page? Are those reliable? What else does the author link to? How objective is the information? Is there apparent bias being displayed in the writing? Does it seem fair and balanced? Does the advertising on the page seem to impact the content of the information? If after all those questions you get stuck, or you're still not sure how to get started, you can always follow Hermione Granger's advice. When in doubt, go to the library. So here we are at the New York Public Library on this beautiful, sunny Manhattan day. So this is home base of the New York Public Library, which has 92 branch locations, around 2,000 employees, 51 million items in their collection, and 2 oversized Gryffindor lions. And we're here today to talk to Jason Baumann, the coordinator of collections assessment, about how librarians can help you with your research.
And my name's Jason Baumann. I work at the New York Public Library, and I'm coordinator of collection assessment, humanities, and LGBT collections at the library.
How can archives help with research for someone who's a little bit new to doing research for maybe a campaign they want to run?
You know, I think when you're working with archives, you're really looking for the backstory. If you want more than just sort of the present story, but you really want to go to get the historical backstory on an issue, that's really where you would go. So it's when you want that kind of big backstory.
Yeah, it's good to get context, but also sounds like you could probably find some cool stuff for like a Throwback Thursday post.
Yes, you can. Yeah, definitely.
for both that, but also for the like physical archives that we were talking about, how would someone go about getting access to that?
So you contact, for each of those, you contact the division, the specific division that you want to contact us. So there's manuscripts and archives division here. You would just email them, explain your project, and they'd help you get what you need. So it's usually proving that you have a real research need, mm-hmm. and to use this material that is usually unique and unpublished.
What sort of databases could someone get access to at a library that they usually wouldn't be able to access from their computer at home?
I mean, most, for New York Public Library, we try to make as much content available from home as we can. From home, it's usually kind of general usage databases and popular newspapers, New York Times, EBSCOhost is kind of your basic research databases.
Like JSTOR, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and then when more specialized content, you have to come on site to use those kind of databases, and often it's going to be content that isn't going to be available on the open internet. There are these databases that if you have a library card you can get into at home, and we make it very clear which ones you can use from home and which ones you have to come on site. Mm-hmm. There's also this digital gallery, which is about this database of 800,000 images that anybody can search across the library's collections to get images for any kind of research usage they might have. Then there's also, I think people often forget that they can just email us and ask a question. You know, and simple fact checking we do. So we have the service Ask NYPL,
Okay.
They used to be more telephone reference. We still do telephone reference, but not as much. So you can just, if you email us a simple question, we'll answer a simple question, particularly if you're looking for a certain resource to point a person in the right direction.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today. We've had a great time sort of touring the space and getting to see the New York Public Library.
And great meeting you. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, you too. We can guarantee that no matter where you live, the librarians at your school or public library will be thrilled to help you on your research quest. Check your library's webpage or ask your librarian for a list of publications and databases you have access to through the library and through interlibrary loan. Now, for this week's challenge, go to your local library and ask them for help with a research subject. Let us know how it went in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching and good luck.